This episode of the Ballcard Show is brought to you by our friends at Pristine Auction, where items are guaranteed authentic for the entire time you own it. Not just at the win, not just while the cert holds. If you own it, Pristine stands behind it. For a limited time, take advantage of $20 off your first auction when you register with the code BALLCARD. Win the real thing. Pristine Auction. Hello and welcome to the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast
for the sports collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
Season 6, episode 21, fresh back from Shipshewana.
Yep, in the middle of Indiana's no man's land.
It certainly was no man's land once again, although I do think I saw a couple more buildings up.
A couple more buildings up. You know what hasn't changed?
What's that?
Pretzels.
You know what else?
What?
A lot of horse poop on the road.
Well, there's a lot of horses on the road.
A lot of horses. Do you remember that dude we saw that had the gangster lean going on with his...
Well, yeah. Did you remember the e-bike gang we saw rolling?
E-bike gangs were serious.
Yeah,
bro.
it was. We were like, oh, okay.
I went in on this because I'm not exactly sure it works, but I don't think that the OGs out there are allowed to e-bike. That's like the non-denoms. That's that's got to be the mega churches that's letting their youth groups out on the e-bikes, because that just seems...
I don't know enough about Amish
inherently
and nomenclature to know, but I have a feeling you're right.
E-bike sounds illegal.
Well, E stands for electricity.
You don't even say it out loud.
Yeah.
Gary.
What?
No cussing. It's shipping. All right, we had a fun time out there. Other thing that was really cool is we found this place called Snappers and How, which is like 10, 15 minutes off the beaten path. And we were able to get out there with like 10, 15 other dealers after the Friday show. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. We had fun.
Missed trade night, but that's gotten really people-y. It's so popular.
I was
nice and tired.
And everybody that goes to it has fun, but we're old. And after spending 6-7 hours peopling, squeezing our way into a crowded room to people some more.
It's like, you want to do that, or would you like a frosty beverage and this food?
Which in Gary's a triple smash burger.
Gary's on Ozempic. He hadn't had anything. I
had a pretzel at noon.
Well, Gary, do you count your gas station stops or no?
That day? What did I eat? I had a few rounds of beef jerky.
A few rounds?
Yes.
I'm going to guess a pound.
Not even close. I bought that bag, and that bag is still rocking and rolling.
What we are saying is he was definitely not fasting. Okay. So we get out there. Gary orders a triple, mushroom something burger?
Yeah, with pepper jack cheese. It was delicious. Yeah. It was delicious.
It's a good time. So everybody came out for that 2-day show, holiday weekend. Of the 3 ship shows, typically a little bit lighter foot traffic because there's a holiday going on. But I'll tell you this, it was flip-flop for us. Last show at Shipshewana, the second day was just absolutely bonkers on the sales.
Yep.
Like, we were just tearing through stuff by noon. We're saying, do we have enough? This time, we've been talking about that lower price band that's been kind of
moving,
flying. Anything that we had that was even semi-relevant from $30 to $80 was gone in about 2 hours.
Yep.
I'd replenished my show. I had 2 spare rows out of the Zion case, and they were gone within about 2 hours of the start of the show. So Friday, it was like, I don't have enough cards, which that's the thing. Like, as you get more tuned into what is more liquid, what's more desirable, you're going to have a higher sell-through rate. It is funny how, like, I haven't adjusted for the panic yet that sets in and shows on twice a month, probably it happens.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, why does that mess with us so much? It does. It really does. I want to sell as much as I can. I don't want to sell that much. We're like the only ones that do that.
Yeah. It's because we have the pressure of sourcing. And we know what that is. It's not that we don't want to sell it. We just know that once it sells, now we got to do the hard work again.
Yeah, that's true.
It's when you get that inventory, like, you're dialed in, you've got your Zion case, it's full, and you're like, I feel great about what I'm taking to this show. that is the most rewarding and fleeting moment you have in this business as a dealer, because you're like, that's great. And then you sit it out in the showcases and you're like, oh no, I have to do this again. I have to get it back to that again. And sometimes you do. And sometimes it takes 3 weeks to get it back to that again.
Well, and if you don't have an LCS or a brick and mortar, you really don't have a consistent base walking in for you to buy stuff. So then it comes down to how much can I buy at the show today?
Yes.
And I would say that, I think a lot of the case hit stuff that we were seeing walk up is just directly getting funneled over towards the repack space. I think some of these people's relationships have gotten to the point where it's a spreadsheet and an email now with a regular person that opens all the time or buys that stuff. Or
although I did buy it downtown at the end of the show
from a TCG guy at the end
who ripped it in a blaster or a mega on the other side of the room 20 minutes before.
Well, if you're going to hit one, Sean Taylor's not a bad one.
No, it's not a bad one. So yeah, I picked that up.
But for by and large, not a ton of that walked up. Now I did get like, we both had some really interesting, but I know one that I had was I had that Keegan Hall art PSA 10 Shohei that I traded into a bunch of early 2000s baseball patches and stuff.
Yeah.
And then a nice Jordan insert lot that I picked up. But buying wise, both of us have gotten a little more picky. But I think that's directly correlated to the sell-through rate. So we're creating our own problem. I guess we could buy more bricks, Gary, if we wanted to do that. We would be able to stare at our showcase.
Then then you end up with the illusion of profit. That's what you end up with is I got into this stuff really right. That doesn't matter if it takes you 3 years to get it back. It's just an illusion of profit at that point.
Yeah. What do you think you saw walking up more than you expected over the weekend?
To be perfectly frank, I didn't feel like that much walked up. And the stuff that did, you're leaving for vacation for a week and we've got all the shows coming up. So I was trying to make sure like you needed to buy stuff so that when you get back from vacation, you're not in like panic mode. I've got a 10-day window in between. So, but I even you, I think would say that we didn't have as many people bringing stuff up. It's kind of what we saw last summer when we were talking about people like, here's my case full of the stuff I ripped out of 30 blasters this month. Do you want to buy it? It was a lot of that. And the stuff that was nicer, but we had a few opportunities but people were pretty strong and it's okay.
Yeah. We had that one guy walk up, what's your percentage before like even saying anything? And when that happens, Gary and I are usually just like really friendly, like, hey man, you're not going to like what we say. Just trying to like, if that's where it starts, it's not, even if I can give you the number, you're going to be mad about, so turns out they were willing to work with us. And I was like, if this was $100 card, what would you say? And the percentage was way better. I was like, oh yeah, we're good. We're good.
We're in a good place.
I said, just so you know, that's going to send some red flags everywhere for any dealer, right?
You had the guy who came up. And I knew that it wasn't going to be a deal for me when I asked him what he wanted for a card. And, he hit me at $15 over the highest sale ever. And I was like,
on a smaller card.
Yeah. It was a Otani. It's like a $60 card. He was like $80. I was like, oh, okay. Well, one just sold for 90. I hadn't been paid for yet, but that's okay. No worries. We're good. So Jason tries and the guy just got real hostile and real aggressive.
It was a David Robinson auto, which let's be honest, not easy to move. Should be.
Yeah,
eBay might be a great spot for it, but not always the easiest thing to move.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it. Card Ladder's predicting it's up a little bit. I offered him the most recent comp, which was like within the last year. This isn't like some old school upper deck unique. No, it's like a retail hit. And he said, well, I need this number. I said, oh, okay. I don't think I can get there. It's just, well, I need it. I said, well, my perspective is if I pay that and that's where the highest comp is, I just as a dealer. And he said, well, I don't need any of your excuses. I don't need any of that.
I don't need to know your reasons.
I don't need to know your reasons why. I said, well, have a good day. I think it's going to be a long one, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly when that happens, somebody's already been to a few tables and been through it.
Yeah, they haven't liked what they've heard so far.
Yeah, and there still is this belief out there that for the love of the hobby, the people spending 20 hours driving spending hundreds of dollars on tables, hotels, food, all of that stuff should be just a ATM.
Yeah.
For everybody there. So it's not the majority, but there's a lot of people who have not thought far enough in advance to use math on like how this might realistically work in any other scenario in the world at a show with vendors.
Yeah.
Like there are some protests like that are so exclusively focused on sports cards that nowhere else in the world do people assume you to believe that. That's how it's going to work. I just don't. We are not selling gold and silver here, guys.
No.
If you like that, go get it. Go buy it.
We're selling perceived value,
baseball cards, guys,
and sentimental stuff. That's what we do.
Yeah.
There just happens to be some speculative market principles that come into
Sure.
play, but it doesn't matter. End of the day, short story, not so long. If I'm buying it from you and it doesn't have Ken Anderson, Luke Kuechly, or Ed Oliver on the front, I'm selling it to somebody else. And if I can't buy it from you at a price point where I'm doing nothing but trading money, then it just doesn't make sense. If you want
and most people, again, were really cool with that.
Most people get that. It's the folks. And Jason won't let me do it. And he's right. I need to be a nicer human sometimes. But I just want to look at those people and go, you need to go buy a table. You want to. You're wanting somebody else to cash you out without doing the work.
And the counter argument is always like, oh yeah, it's real hard. Oh yeah, flipping ball cards. Nobody's ever done it. Everybody that has never done it.
Kind of like Jeff going, well, you some of these experts should have done it instead of me, and then I wouldn't be here.
Where were you, Mr. Expert? Set up. Oh, I've set up. Have you ever set up more than once? Back to back? Have you ever done it? Have you ever had to source inventory? Or are you saying I've done the same thing as you just because I have a shoebox that I've sold half of, I've had for 20 years? There's a difference.
Yeah.
And it's not a condescending, you can't figure it out. It's that anybody that's done it knows it's and it's not hard to understand. No. I didn't want that stupid Dave Robinson auto anyway. That's why I'm still talking about it 4 days later.
Well, you know what you did want?
What's that?
Can we give your wife some flowers?
Oh, let's do it.
Jason got his anniversary gift a little bit early. Some of you may have seen it on socials because he couldn't wait for today to show it off to the world. But the rest of you, that is a Zach Thomas PMG number to 50. It also happens to be the highest graded copy of the card on planet Earth.
In the world.
And the subgrades are good too.
Yeah, it's 2 9.5s. We got the 9.5s on surface and centering. Edges 8.5, corners 9. I mean, my wife was like, she knew because she was asking Gary, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting something. And he's like, this is a really cool one, blah, blah. She knew it was good. She didn't realize, like, this is one of Zach Thomas's best cards ever.
Yeah.
And it's the highest copy ever, highest graded copy ever.
Yep.
So that makes me happy.
Straight to the PC. You go put it right with your red one. And
that's two. Yeah, hold on. Surround sound here. Let's get it going.
Yeah, you got them both. And there isn't a 98. So you've got the whole PMG universe.
The whole rainbow. That's really cool. Celebrating 20th anniversary, 20 years. Been married to my high school sweetheart.
Antigua.
The Chillicothe of the Caribbean.
I think Jason is very much looking forward to not talking to me for a week.
I'm looking forward to not talking to anybody but my wife.
Yep.
I've got like 8 books. No way I get through them, but I'll try to read 2 or 3.
How many are fiction?
2.
I was gonna say, I know that's not your
2. Well, I'll do a little bit. No, because my wife's got these page turner mystery things that she's been and for that it's perfect. I'll read that. I'm reading Jeff. That's a big part of our community. Sent me The Match, Banner Under Heaven, which is a TV series, very interesting stuff. And then what else am I taking? I've got a bunch of mystery, some goofy, weird.
I know you're not taking any of my recommendations, which is okay.
No, I'm not a nerd like that. No, like I haven't ever considered, like, would I be an innkeeper in a fantasy novel? Would I ever, anyway, make up names of instruments? Like, I don't know. I don't, but you keep doing you. And,
I will.
The rest of us will just be fascinated by that subculture. It's just fascinating. Okay. last week we interviewed Dale and Junk Wax Vintage. When we finished that, we had shared like this was one of Gary said it was his favorite interview that we've ever done. I felt very encouraged, motivated, but the big thing I took away from that is just a perspective and a reminder of the things that are most important as you're building out a card business, if you're doing content, if you're live selling, like Dale does. And I think the big takeaway for me was to slow down for a second. And when it's interesting, when you make a priority that, you realize just how fast you've been moving.
Right.
And how many other things that, like, the chaos just picks up quickly. And I'm assuming there's a lot of other people trying to grow a business in the same stage that we're in, where it's doing what you need it to do, but you have so much more growth that needs to take place in the business. And it's important for us to consider what happens when we take the time to slow down. What are the things that we notice when we're burnt out or tired, or things that we need to pay attention to? And Gary and I thought maybe we could do like a little more introspective, right? This time, just looking at like, here's the things we noticed when we're getting worn out that isn't us at our best, that isn't the best that we can bring to our business or community. And then we're hopeful that maybe some of that will help you, just some warning signs of like, hey, I need to space this out. I need to set a pace. I need to take a day off, or I just need to be reminded of these priorities that when I started were so important to me, but now the chaos and the demand of the day is taking over. So we did one thing in response to it. One thing we're trying to do is when we have a really good takeaway from an interview, we got to have some type of actionable to see like, hey, are we applying this? If we're saying it's good to you, are we making sure that it's good to us? And so on Sunday we did whatnot. We decided, let's do 30% less auctions than we normally do. Let's set it to 30 seconds. And tonight we're just going to make a point of responding to every comment that comes in. Everyone we can read, we're hanging out. The cards are there. You're here because you love cards, and we're just spending time on the relationships in. And I'll tell you, it was such a good reminder to me of why we do this. And it showed me how quickly, not at once, not one overnight thing, but just little by little, it's easy to develop these patterns that just aren't you at your best.
Yeah.
And I'm learning like I am not at my best trying to fly through as many cards as quickly as possible. I'm not at my best fabricating an energy that I don't have or feel. That's what people tell me on a regular basis. Because I'm so vocal and forward, if I don't really embody that, it comes across very fake and it's very felt. What are some of the things you notice, Gary, if you're starting to get a little burned out, fatigue? What are things that change? What are some of the warning signs, if you will?
I think for me, there's two things that jump to the front of my mind. The first one is I start getting so focused on the systems and the cards that I forget about the people. And that's not just attendees at a show. Like, that's family. I'll find myself spending more and more time in my office and not spending as much time with my wife. I'll find myself when one of my kids calls going, I don't have time for that right now, and I'll call them back later. That's one of the big ones for me, is just that when I start feeling that way, I get my toes dug in even deeper, because it's like I got to dig out of this. The other one is that I find that when I start feeling that, it shows up at shows, it shows up in my interactions with customers. Hell, it shows up in our interactions with each other, because we spend so much time together. We spend more time with each other than we spend with our spouses. So when we hit that stage where we're feeling the stress of burnout, or we're feeling the stress of a string of shows that we know are coming, with the challenges that we face with how we do business,
right?
For me, it shows up in my interactions with other people.
Yeah. I noticed some of the same things. It can get a little more transactional. And so things I'll notice is people that I spend a little more time with when they come up to the table or I'm hanging out with them, like I'm cutting the conversation short and moving on. That's me, because I'm convinced it's more important. I am more convinced this year than ever before that if you're in this space as a business, relationships, not leverage, not IOUs, genuine relationships in this space will do more for your business than than time than the time you'll put in. And that's a pretty good exchange. But that won't happen unless you're intentional about it. It won't happen without making a point of building relationships, being helpful, being available, not being too busy. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I notice too. The other thing that I forget when I get really busy is this is fun.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get into things like it's our job to create a fun environment. It's our job to make sure other people are having fun. But we live in a space and we work in a space that is all about people spending their extra play money on toys,
It should
collectibles.
be intrinsically fun.
Yes,
We
it
shouldn't
should
have
be.
to
Yes.
we shouldn't have to externally make it fun. Like
Mhm.
the act of buying and enjoying a baseball card should be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Um, I think the other things that I've noticed is it's easy to be more focused on comparison. When I'm around people that are burnt out in this space, one common thing that I hear is people that their business was humming along and then they get kind of burnt out or whatever's going on. All of a sudden, shows were amazing and now all the promoters suck. All the promoters aren't doing their job. And sure, there have been shows that everybody's been to if they set up on a regular basis that just don't meet the hopes or expectations, right? And sometimes that's not the promoter. Sometimes the show just wasn't promoted well, right? Sometimes there's other factors. But when you're hearing people constantly point elsewhere, that's a sign. If you're doing that, that's a sign that you might be a little bit burnt out. You're running out of options. You don't have a fresh thought on what to do next. I know Gary and I have had to revamp what we do 10 times. It's probably going to happen another 10 times in the next 6 months.
Yep.
You know? So
you have to understand that to your point, when it comes to like when you're pointing outwards all the time, one of the things that you and I know for a fact, and it's because we spent so many years in sales, interpersonal sales, if you're feeling that burnout, if you're feeling that feeling of transactional, the nature of things, if you're feeling frustrated when people walk up to the table and don't offer you what you think you should for a card, you don't have any idea. You don't even realize the energy that you're putting off.
that's a good
And
point. Yeah.
I know that I've fallen victim to that. I'm like, what is going on here? I've got great cards. Why? And I stop and I go, boy, I'm putting off the energy of a porcupine right now. Like,
Yep.
don't come near me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shoot arrows at you.
Yep.
And if you're putting off that energy, you may not even know you're putting off that energy, and it's costing you.
And it's like it's a scarcity mindset. There's not enough to go around. And sometimes it happens like you can be having a good show right now and you're thinking about the next 3 shows. And if I didn't do enough this week, then that means this is going to happen during the week. That's going to happen next week. And there's no chance that this show does X, Y, and Z. And once you're in that train of thought, you're already screwed. I don't know how people can perform in that mindset, but I sure know that it costs me money to live there. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not saying I'm good at this. I'm saying it's tough. I think a lot of people, especially early on in the full-time gig, if you're being honest about it, it is such a grind. You figure out what's working and then sometimes it doesn't work. I think of, and sometimes it's as simple as a strategy or a purchase, some advice you took on what you should be buying and selling. And, the Ship's an interesting show for me because last time at Ship Shawana, Wimbenyama stuff was on the biggest discount we've ever seen. And then this time it is screaming hot. And you just realize there's going to be ebbs and flows. If I hadn't done this for a few years now, I would be nervous because things have slowed down and it's late in May, except every year, early summer before the National, this happens.
Yes.
And so if I'm too tired because I'm not taking time and all that, it's easy to just take that thought and run with it. And I know there's some of you listening. It's like, this is kind of a weird episode. You guys are getting in the weeds over one specific thing. But if there's a reflection that we've been catching a lot lately with dealers where they're struggling, it's this fact that they're feeling a little discouraged. Or maybe it's a shop owner that, with the way that the direct accounts have shifted and trying to figure out like, It's not that you don't have enough to figure out right now. You're just nervous because you can't see what things will be like in a year. What are things going to be like in 6 months? What's going to be like next month with product releases, right?
And if you're new to the space from the business side of things, maybe you've been a collector for a long time, but you just in the last few months decided, okay, I'm going to actually take this seriously. I'm going to set up at shows, and you've not been through these cycles that we've been through a few times. You might be coming into the summer swoon. There's always a slowdown. You might be going, oh my gosh, I was doing $6,000 a show every week, and now I'm doing 3. Is the market collapsing? Like no, it's just the summer swoon. It happens every single year. Kids are playing baseball. Families are taking vacation. The national things will start to pick up, and then football camps start. And it's like, then we're off to the races again. It's all cycles.
And patterns change.
Here at the Ballcard Show, when we decided to partner with Pristine Auction, it's because it felt like such a no-brainer. Pristine has gone out of their way to make sure that the entire collector experience is as transparent and seamless and authentic as possible. They offer fast-paced live selling auctions where every sale sets a recorded comp. They offer 10-minute auctions where 10 lots go up and you can bid on them for 10 minutes. And they offer traditional daily and weekly auctions as well, if that is more your speed. Most importantly, every item you purchase from Pristine, they stand behind and guarantee to be authentic for the entire time that you own the item. For a limited time, when you register at Pristine and sign up with the code Ballcard, you'll get $20 off your first auction win, as well as 3 months of gold status as a consigner. Win the real thing, Pristine Auction.
So let's get on the solution side of this. So whether it's fatigue, whether it's burnout, frustration, quick reminder, the person walking up to your table is not the enemy. If if you're intrinsically in your gut, when somebody walks up to look at your stuff feeling like you have to dig some heels in, that's an indicator. I'm guessing you haven't always been like that. I'm guessing that there was a time when you were actually excited to talk to somebody and see what they were interested in. And whether it's the way the market changed, the way repackers, not just the repack industry, but like, talk about these 15-year-old kids rolling in and being disrespectful, whether intentional or not, sourcing that kind of stuff. I know that's changed the environment for people. But if you're feeling that every time somebody walks up to the table, let me just say this as point blank as I can. It's not only going to cost you something way more important than money, but it's definitely going to cost you money. And I think it's easy to forget that when things shift. Sometimes the stuff that you're buying works really well for a year and then it changes. Gary and I are fortunate that we noticed a trend towards a lighter price point on some of the ultra modern. That's good and bad. It's good in that we can buy a lot of volume. And if players get an upside, that's great. It's bad in the fact that I think the reason a lot of repacks are moving to that is not just that it's consolidating, but when people are sourcing $50 cards, they found it's way easier to get to 80% by saying 40. And most dealers don't do the math. They're like, it's a cheaper card. Sure. Right. So these kids are getting cards at 75%, 80%. That they have a hard time doing that with $100 and up stuff. So we are trying to adapt to what we see happening. I'll tell you what's going on right now. I'm halfway through a big stack of 90s Jordan inserts here. Have you guys taken a peek? If you're listening to this, that 90s insert market, especially Jordans, while it's been climbing, it has gone borderline hyperbolic in the way that
parabolic,
hyperbolic, hyperbole, wrong word, parabolic, in that like as soon as a PSA 9 hits, it's going for so much. And then all of the raw stuff around it are running to those numbers to support it, which isn't how that era of inserts has worked for a long time.
No, we're seeing what you and I have been talking about for several years, which is the era of stuff that was popular when people our age were kids. We are all now old enough that either our kids are close to being out of the house or they're out of the house. There's disposable income again, and we want to relive our childhood.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for 3 years on this podcast. If you listened to us 3 years ago and you were out buying Jordan inserts 3 years ago, you are very happy right now if you still have them. perfect example is the one that everybody calls the Scarface Jordan. That card 3 years ago was $20. They're doing $600 to $700 raw now.
I sold a raw at 300 not even 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Picked one up this week and it comps right around $600.
Yeah.
It's so it's a little weird when you start to see a comp hit and then it's like everything chasing that outlier. That's what I would call it, as an outlier. When you have a $30 insert and then a PSA 9 and it's not a super tough grade, all of a sudden pops off for $120, then the next 5 raws are $70. It's somebody trying to reverse engineer the equation that's not necessarily accurate, but pay attention to what's happening. If the 90s basketball inserts are getting a lot of attention and what you've been putting in the showcase isn't getting much attention, then it may be worth taking a peek at some of that and seeing if there's some upside there. But yeah, pay attention to the trends that are taking place, because sometimes the market has moved into a different sector, space, price band, sport. The attention's more on the GOAT than the rookie, whatever that is. If you're not having conversations with people and you don't have relationships with other dealers and you're not consuming any kind of content around the space, you're kind of in the dark without a flashlight, just hoping your own experience will give you that feedback. And I think the feedback's available if you want.
Sure.
It.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Gary, what would you say to the person that's feeling like super bummed out? Where do you tell them to get started?
I think that Dalen gave really good advice last week. If you're super bummed out, you're super feeling burnout, I hope that in all the hecticness that this business can throw at you, that you have a PC. Set aside an hour or two of your life and just go look at your cards, the stuff that's not available to sell to anybody else, that makes you remember a time in your life, whether it was going to a baseball game with your dad or your mom or whatever it was, and just spend some time grounding yourself there. I would also really encourage you to try to change your algorithm, even if you have to forcibly change your algorithm, to focus on the content that we consume in this space, to focus on the stuff that's more positive, that's more affirming. I'm not telling you have to go and just be happy with shills. I'm just saying that if the content that you consume is nothing but people complaining and bitching and moaning about the space, maybe try something else. Try to surround yourself with people who like it here, because the attitudes of the people you surround yourself with, the attitudes of the people whose content that you consume and take in on a regular basis are going to reflect in you, right? Like that was the big thing for me with that conversation with Dalen last week. I left that interview and that conversation just feeling more refreshed and more grounded in this space than I have for a while. Like, this is a person who works just as hard, if not harder than we do, that's live twice a day, 6 days a week, that is building a community, that is running a business. And he still has that level of genuine appreciation for a base third-year Corbin Carroll Stadium Club card. How do you do that? You do that by not letting yourself be fed negativity all the time.
And you don't forget that there's more to it than making a buck.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's really important. And it's hard for us to do that. Well, right?
When you're paying your bills with it, it is. It's really hard. But
even our content, like unapologetically from day one, if we're putting the work in on this, we want to be able to have some value in the content.
Absolutely.
Not just that people get an experience to have a chance to get to know us before they would see us at a show, but because we're trying to add value in the content that we offer. And so I would agree with you on that. I think the reminder he had was he was talking about that base card is like, there's somebody out there that would love this card.
Yes.
Because it reminds them of X or Y or Z. And then I began to hear like the examples he gave, and I began to think of these collectors who have never had anything beyond a nostalgic thing. And they've got a binder that's got a few base cards and a newspaper clipping from their favorite playoff series where somebody hit a bottom of the ninth home run, and a coaster and a bobblehead they got for free back at the stadium back in the day. Like, I think the business end of this will pull you away from that. And you, as a business owner are going to have the responsibility to bring yourself right back to being centered there.
Yep.
And on the content side, if you're not surrounded with people pushing you forward, cheering you on, offering to be a resource, filling the tank rather than taking away, you're making it harder. You're making it harder. It's not easy to find that balance. I know that something Gary and I deal with is we have no issue having, calling something a rough take or saying the man has, made a bad decision, or, hey, this is bad for the industry, or, hey, this is concerning. We said it on multiple fronts, and it can also be true at the very same time.
Yeah.
That we love the cards that we collect, and we are trying to make as much money as humanly possible in this space as we do that. There's a belief that those things can't exist together. And to those people, I would say, I'm probably never going to convince you. To the rest of the world, I'd love to meet you, get to know you, find out what you collect, and have a good time, enjoying the space on that. So, I just felt like the conversation with Dalen was a good reminder. It made me look inward on a lot of things. I'm not going to say that stuff doesn't suck if it sucks. I'm not saying that I'm not able to fake that super well. I'm not very good at that, but I do think it's up to us where we put our energy and attention in the space and who we spend time with.
And I think that's the big takeaway. If you're finding yourself feeling burnout, finding yourself becoming negative about everything, finding yourself just every time somebody says something that's negative, you're like, if that's who you find yourself being, I'm willing to venture a guess that you weren't always that way. And that if you were honest and looked in the mirror, you go, gosh, I don't like this version of me that much in this space. Yeah. My encouragement to you would be, you don't have to be that way. You don't. You can be realistic about the challenges that we face without becoming, woe is me, the sky is falling, everything is crumbling down around us, the hobby is on fire. Like there's a spot in the middle where you can live that still lets you enjoy the space in a positive way and be a positive influence on the next generation of people coming into the space.
Yep. So I was having a really interesting conversation with Keith up at Neuhart Cards in Delaware today before we recorded this. And he was talking about how he's been training some guys in the shop. And, one of the things that he's been trying to teach them is that just because a card has a comp doesn't mean it's a card worth buying, even if the numbers and the math look right. But he did a great job of breaking this down. So let's head to Delaware, Ohio, Neuhart Cards, Keith with Shop Talk.
Hi, this is Keith at Neuhart Cards, and this is Shop Talk. Started this part of the podcast talking really about the business side. Got away from it a little bit with the bellyache sessions about Topps and Fanatics and all what they're doing. So just want to talk about a couple little things at our business that we tweaked last week that, again, nobody's going to notice, but we notice inside these four walls. So first of all, we do 4 Whatnot shows a week. We've actually just cut one. So we cut our Friday afternoon 2 o'clock Whatnot show. It was stuff between $3 and $20. There's a lot of competition in the afternoons, and it really wasn't even about that. It's about our processes. So when we get back, we have to ship all those 150 items. That takes one of my buyers off the showroom floor and makes him kind of ship for the rest of the day and not be a buyer, a retail salesman out here. So that's one of the things we tweaked. Another thing that we've tweaked, and I don't know if we've mentioned this or not, but talking about this with our guys is just because there's a comp on a card doesn't mean necessarily that we have to buy it. We have always buying on our front window, which basically means we are always buying. There's a lot of things that we just aren't good with, and we know that. Our main sports are baseball and football and Pokemon. Basketball and hockey don't sell for us that well. So if I'm buying a Red Finest rookie auto to 5 and a PSA 10, I know what's going to happen. That's not a shop card for us. That's an eBay card. So then you hope and you wait and you hope that the comps don't drop or something like that. So we've tweaked that and said, just because there is a comp, it doesn't necessarily mean that's something that we need to buy. So again, we've been in business 15 years. We're always tweaking little things like that, but that's something that you're probably not going to notice. But again, inside these four walls, it's changes that we have to make. So this has been Keith at Neuhart Cards, and this is Shop Talk.
Thanks, Keith. As we get closer to the National, we're going to do some fun stuff in partnership with Keith. So keep an eye out on that. We want you to be able to go meet him, buy some cool cards from him at the National. Of course, we'll be over there throughout the week. And then Gary, I'm volunteering you for this. I haven't announced it. We're going to try to come up with some fun giveaway for any of the fans that head over to Keith's and purchase a card. And then we'll have something fun for him from the Ballcard Show. But be sure to take advantage of that. You want me to hit you with a random pop or drop here?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to give you some names. You're going to say pop or drop and give us a quick explanation. I don't need to answer. I'll just let you hit them. The first one we have to talk about because everyone is talking about Victor Wembanyama. And then we're talking about current card market, pop or drop?
Drop.
Why?
Because the season is almost over for them. And I don't care if he scores 90 points in the next game. If they lose and don't make it to the finals, his cards are going down.
Now, if you still like Wemby and you plan on buying more Wemby, what would be your recommendation to those people?
I would wait until late July to buy more Wemby.
And then let's go extra bonus points. How much of an adjustment do you think there is to Wemby's market? Let's call it August or September.
20 to 30%.
20 to 30%. All right.
Yep.
Not a bad play there. All right. Mike Trout.
Pop.
Still too cheap?
Still too cheap. Still a locked in first ballot 99+% of the vote. Hall of Famer, best player of his generation, and he's healthy again. And people are like, I don't care. They'll care. Mm-hmm. They'll care in about 7 years when he goes in the Hall.
What would you target if you were looking for Trout stuff? I know my answer, but I'd like to hear what you think.
His rookie stuff is so cheap, and then low numbered autos. Like you can get transcendent autos numbered to 25 for less than $400, like on card stuff. And then his rookie stuff, I would be buying as many PSA 9 rookie variations as I could get my hands on if they were presented to me.
Yep. I would agree with that on the rookie 9s. The other thing I would say is the patch game. I'm really interested to see what happens when across all major 3 game use patches are the standard again. And I wonder if some of that, now I know some of the dynasty stuff is already just because of what it is, a premium, but like Transcendent's a great example of that.
So is Diamond Icons.
Yeah. You can get some absolutely gross patches now, probably
Luminaries.
Good deal. What, $250 to $300 to $1,000 is probably the place you're playing on, like the lower end of the premium stuff. But if you can find unique game use patches that are low numbered, that's something I'd be interested in, because I think that entire space is a little bit untapped on that. But I would agree with you there. Wemby is a weird one because it's like, is the market looking for a Shohei experience in the NBA? By that I mean, for the first time in a very long time, we saw a player's market continue to rise through the offseason with Shohei.
Yeah, I think that the difference
Wemby could do that.
No. Shohei, that didn't happen with Shohei until he was 3 MVPs and 2 World Series deep.
Great point.
Right?
But recency bias is quite a thing in this space.
It is, but Wemby is an absolute freak show, and he has all of the ability to be an all-timer. I don't think anybody has a question there. Ohtani's already that.
Yes.
Ohtani could have something happen tomorrow where he never plays another game and he's going to get in the Hall of Fame.
His Black Finite 101, did you see that?
Did it go nuts? Oh, I know Mars bought one, didn't they?
Well, no, this is
different one.
Wemby.
Oh, Wemby's Black Finite.
Rookie.
Oh, I'm sure it went stupid.
5.1 million.
Yeah. I mean, again, that price point on a Wemby, what's he got to do for that to hold? Like that's the whole
the market just has to believe, right? That's what we're talking about. Will the market respond? Not should.
Yes,
but how will they?
I also think that it's a really important thing to ask yourself as you're dabbling into this kind of stuff. I don't think very many people listening to this podcast are spending $5 million on a Wemby, but there might be some of you considering spending $4,000 on a Prism Silver with a pop of almost 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
I would not advise doing that.
One thing to watch, I think that's a great point. When you're looking at cards like that, like the Silver 10, right? Not the most rare card in the world. Okay. If you see going into playoffs a double up, almost a triple up on comps, it should at least be a pause
to get rid of it.
The tendency early on when you're getting into this is, oh, it's a gold rush. It's a bonanza. Go get it. But most of the time you're a little late to the party there because everybody else sees that data too. So be careful with that. All right. The next one's a little fun, but I want your honest take on this. Pop or drop Kyler Murray?
Pop going into the season.
It can be a quick flip. I mean, it can be whatever.
Every quarterback, I said earlier, I showed you this earlier. Sometimes you make a mistake and you hold it long enough that you can probably break even on it. Here we are with this blue Kyler Murray.
How big was that car back in the day?
99. I mean, it was a $500 to $700 card a while back, and then it dropped down to like $100 card. Now it's about a $220 card, which is about what I paid for it because I screwed up. I made a mistake, which happens to all of us. But every quarterback not named JJ McCarthy has looked awful good in that offense. And I think that most people who know football and watched JJ McCarthy in college knew that it wasn't going to be a smooth and simple transition to the NFL for him, even though he seems like a great kid and he works really hard. Kyler is 3'0", but he runs really fast and has a really big arm. And every time he's been in an offense that opened things up and played to his strengths, he's put up good numbers. And Minnesota has some real good receivers, a pretty good running back, and a pretty good offensive line.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Okay. Shedeur Sanders, pop or drop?
Drop.
Why?
Already speculative pricing, and every rumble that I've heard coming out of Cleveland is that there is a reluctant realization that Deshaun Watson might be their starter.
Oh, I think they're definitely going to start Deshaun.
Yeah, which is terrifying, but that seems to be the case. And if Shedeur doesn't start off the rip, all the speculative buying, we're going to see exactly what happened with Will Levis cards 2 years ago. Will Levis at the National in 2024 was the hottest thing you could buy. Right. If you bought it, you moved it, and I think we'll see the same thing.
Okay, let's keep it rolling. Jacob Mizorowski. Market has really popped in the last month.
It's a drop only because it's a young pitcher. I mean, look at even the best young pitcher in the game, Paul Skeens, his market has settled. And Mizorowski's a freak show, but still a young pitcher.
Chase Burns, same thing?
Chase Burns, I am actually the opposite on because his market has not exploded. And he's been the best pitcher in baseball, not named Ohtani.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it. Last one. Interesting case here. Ellie De La Cruz.
Still, last year it was a drop. Now it's a pop.
Why is that?
Because he's playing at an MVP conversation level on a team that is staying above 500 somehow. As a Reds fan, I don't know how they're doing it, but they are. Yeah. And his market is starting to pick back up, but it still has not reached the point that I think it will. Yep. I think there's another 15-20% there by the All-Star game.
I like it. So by the time that you all check in on this episode, I'm already on the beach. I'm thinking about all of you individually by name, even though we've never met, or maybe we have. And I'm thinking fondly of our community. I'm just kidding.
You're not thinking about anything other than the book you're reading and where your next drink's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. Let's go to the rundown of the shows coming up this weekend. If you're catching this on Friday when it drops on Saturday, Gary will be in Chillicothe, Ohio, for the Southern Ohio
Sports Card Spectacular.
Sounded wrong in my head, but that was right.
Yep.
That's Rob Dolby's show, correct?
Yes.
So Rob from Game Time puts that one on. We've been there a few times. It's been a fun show every time. The following week, Indianapolis Midwest Monster. I'll be flying back from Antigua Thursday night, landing supposedly at 10:30, but we're flying back American, so who knows when I'll get in. Leaving 5 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. Something like that, straight to Indy. We'll be there for 2 days at the Midwest Monster, Noblesville, Indiana. Be sure to check that out. Then we have a week off. A week after that, we will be in Nashville, Tennessee, 1200 table show. Definitely check that out. If you're anywhere close, if you want to see a larger show that has a good mix of vendors, that's it. That's the one. Following week, end of June, Columbus Card Fest at the Columbus Convention Center. Big show, and I keep hearing lots of very special surprises along the way for that. A lot of it hasn't been rolled out. G14 classified, if that's still a thing. Before we head out, quick reminder, be sure to like and subscribe, give everything a follow. Visit our friends over at Pristine, where you will get $20 off of your first auction with the code Ballcard. When you register, we will be live on Whatnot on Sunday at 6:30. Gary's going to be holding down the fort. Next Wednesday, when I normally have my solo show, Gary is going to be doing a solo show then. And we'll be back to the regular routine the following Sunday. So be sure to check that out. Without further ado, this has been the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast
for the sports collector.
Bye now.
Peace.